I'm not feeling very well today. That's why we're going to the doctor. Dr. Mario. Let's get into it. Dr. Mario was released on July 27th, 1990 on the Famicom, Game Boy, and Nintendo Entertainment System. It was also later released in an arcade cabinet form. The cabinet was blue and was known as Versus Dr. Mario. In Dr. Mario, there are multiple settings you can choose before you start, such as the level you're on, the speed, and the music type. My personal favorite music choice is Fever. The objective in the game is to match 4 colored pills to a virus to clear it off of the board. You beat the level when all of the viruses are cleared off of the board. My personal favorite design for all the viruses is the blue one. I don't know why. I just kind of like how it looks. I think it looks pretty neat. It sold over 10 million copies across all platforms, and at one point was called the best Nintendo game ever. Some people compare it to Tetris, but I find that Tetris has a much more clean, refined style, as Dr. Mario has more of a kind of gritty feeling to it. Dr. Mario also has several very small little touches that I really like, such as the fact that the high score and the level, speed, and virus number are both on little clipboards with little pieces of paper. I always thought that was really cool. And you see the viruses because someone's holding like a little magnifying glass over them, which allows you to see them. And Dr. Mario's throwing the pills into a pill bottle, which doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. Why are there viruses inside of a pill bottle? But, it's all part of the fun of the game. Dr. Mario also has a 2-player mode in which 2 players battle it out over who can win a best of 3 set of games. The game gets progressively harder with each level that passes, eventually getting to the point where the entire screen is filled with viruses from the get-go. Dr. Mario was also praised for its unique gameplay elements and the unique premise that the game follows. Dr. Mario has also been ported to numerous home and portable consoles, such as the DS, the Game Boy Advance as a part of the Nintendo Classics Collection, and our next topic, the SNES. At release, it was ranked at number 143 on the Nintendo Power Chart. Well, here it is. It now features a versus computer mode as well. It still has all the same settings, such as the music type, the speed, and the virus level. Inside of it, it has some minor changes to the design, such as a new background, changing the colors of the clipboards, changing the colors of Dr. Mario itself, making the sign flash kind of like it's a neon sign, and making the magnifying glass green. Other than that, there aren't really that many differences between the NES original and it on the SNES. All it is basically just a visual upgrade with nothing else added. However, when this version released, it didn't sell very well because most consumers already had a version of Dr. Mario for either their Nintendo Entertainment System or their Famicom if they were in Japan, causing Dr. Mario on the SNES to not sell very well. However, the cartridge did not only include Dr. Mario, it also had 2 other games, Mixed Match, a kind of weird Tetris game, and Tetris, the normal version, but it also included a multiplayer versus mode and a versus computer mode. I've also noticed that the game is slightly harder than the original on NES. Now, I don't know if it's like a proven thing or anything, but that's just my personal findings. Next up is Dr. Mario 64, which adds many additional modes to the game, such as 1-player, 2-player, multiplayer, and versus computer. You can choose between 3 different levels of difficulty for the story and 2 different characters. In this one, there actually is a story in the game. The story is Dr. Mario is a doctor rushing around curing everyone with his special vitamins called Mega Vitamins. But then Wario and a new villain for this game, Mad Science Team, try to take them. And then this game has a different style of play. The unique gimmick for this game is that all battles within the game are versus battles. Yup, from the very first one all the way to the very last, it's all versus levels. Now I don't really like this, as I prefer just endless levels. You just have to reach a certain amount of score and then you win. But I guess it does make more sense from a story perspective to have Mario facing other people. What I really don't get though is the timer. Why would you put a timer to see how long you've been fighting one enemy? Maybe there's a timeout feature that I just haven't found because I'm just too good at Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario 64 was also the final Dr. Mario game released for the Nintendo 64. It was also later re-released alongside Panel de Pon and Yoshi's Cookie in a Japan-exclusive puzzle pack for the Nintendo GameCube. It was also released as one of the very first launch titles for the Nintendo 64 online part of the Nintendo Online Expansion Pass. The game is also chock full of references to Super Mario 64, the very first 3D Mario game, not including any games that Mario featured in on the Virtual Boy, of course. The references include the Power Stars being used to mark whether or not someone has won, Metal Mario appearing, and a lot of the voice clips used for Mario are taken directly from Super Mario 64. Another reference is a majority of the characters, except for Mario and Metal Mario, are from Wario Land 3. Isn't that interesting? Another fun fact is that when in marathon mode, holding L or R will increase the number of viruses that are on screen. And Dr. Mario 64 was also on the iQue. You know, Dr. Mario really has been on everything. Wonder what else it could be on. Dr. Mario on Game Boy? But isn't the whole point of the game to, use colors to figure out what ones you're supposed to match up? I need to take a look at this. Welp, this sure is Dr. Mario on the Game Boy. Well, you have all the same settings, but here there isn't really any color. I mean, they kinda tried to make it work by making 2 of them different brightnesses and the other one kind of like a checkerboarded one, but to me, this just hurts my eyes. Other than that, it's a slightly worse version of the NES game, where there's no magnifying glass, you're missing a whole scoreboard, you're missing the flashing Dr. Mario sign. It just overall isn't very good. But for the time that it was released in, it's pretty understandable that some people just wanted Dr. Mario on the go. you know? Dr. Mario for the Game Boy overall is fine, I guess. But I personally find it hard to watch and hard to play. Well, that sure was Dr. Mario on the Game Boy. You know, those germs sure are everywhere. And that's why I give Dr. Mario, as a game itself across the board, a 7 out of 10. That's right, a 7. I really like Dr. Mario. I think it has had a unique concept and is very fun. However, sometimes the controls just aren't very good. See you next time.